her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. So now Sarai now becomes Sarah. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. So yeah, I guess if you're married to someone, you have all the kids, and they tell you you're going to be, if you're a man and they say you're going to be the king of nations, and all the kings of nations are coming from your wife, between you and your wife, yeah, of course she's going to be the mother of nations, right? Then Abram fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? At this point he's 100 years old. And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? So he's 100, Sarah is 90. So he's questioning God now. Wait, listen, I'm 100 years old, man. Sarah is 90. How are we going to have children? And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. So there's a covenant established. Remember back in one of the chapters, God established a covenant with Noah. He established a covenant with Noah's kids. Not all of where Noah had cursed one of the kids. I can't remember which one, but Noah, in one of the chapters, Noah cursed one of the kids, and God established covenant with Abraham's father, right? And now he's establishing the same covenant he had with Noah, great-grandfather of Abraham. Now he's establishing the same covenant with Abraham, right? And now he's establishing the covenant with all the kids of Abraham. We've seen that covenant talk before. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. So God is not establishing a covenant with Ishmael. He's going to establish a covenant with Isaac, which is going to be the son of Abraham and Sarah at this point. And the son that Abraham had with Hagar, he's not having a covenant with that child, but he's going to bless that child, right? And then he's going to make that child be fruitful and multiply with exceedingly. 12 princes, right? Shall be he get him, and he will make him great nation. So he's going to make him a great nation, but he's not going to make him father of nations. He's just going to be a great leader of nations, right? He's going to be he's going to have great nations, right? But he's not going to be the father of nations, right? And God doesn't establish a covenant with Ishmael, but will establish a covenant with Isaac, even though they are both sons of Abraham. Favoritism? I don't know. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So he's telling Abraham, next year you're going to have that child. Sarah is going to give birth to that child next year, and this is the person I'm going to establish my covenant. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of the foreskin in the same day as God had said unto him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 99, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the same day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. So Abraham and Ishmael were circumcised the same day. All the maids and everything else that he had bought with his money were circumcised, and all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with money of money of the stranger, was circumcised with him. So he ended up circumcising every single person. So here we see the first one of the first fights where kings was going over fighting to take over land, tribal war. They fight, take over land. Abraham came back, he gained back the land, and then he just took what belongs to him. He didn't take any more. Covenant is established between Abraham and the Lord and God, and then he's going to have a child with Sarah, who used to be Sarai. Abram turned to Abraham. Sarai turned to Sarah. Hagar still have the child, but the child is not going to have a covenant with God. God is not going to have a covenant with Ishmael, but God will have a covenant with Isaac, which he's going to have that child with his wife, but not with his maid. So, guys, I think that's Genesis 14 to 17. There's a lot going on in this chapter. This is where we see one of the first serious fights with different tribes, different kings going out to fight. We see another establishment of a covenant between God and Abraham. We see where name changes can take place. You move from one name. All these things are still happening today, guys. We don't have as many kings as before, but we still have leaders. We still have world leaders who still at the top of who still lead their nations and who still fight with other nations. This thing is still happening today. We have people who still change their names today. They can legally go in and change their name. You still have men who are married and have mistresses. That still happens today. So far, everything we've read there at this point is still happening today. And this is why I say that the Bible is one of the greatest books ever written. It has past, present, and future. And then you can associate anything that was written in the Bible to the present, which means you can associate it with the past, and you can also associate it with the future. So with that said, guys, thank you guys for listening. Please leave comments, guys, to that understanding. The next one I believe I will do is 18 to 19, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's Genesis 18 to 19 will be the next one I'll look into. Some of the names, maybe I didn't get it correct because it's the first time I'm reading this. Every time I read one of these, it's the first time I pick it up and I read it to you guys as is. I don't learn anything prior to that, guys. And that's how I want to keep it. I don't want to have no foretold memory of what I'm reading, or to try and explain what I read because I had an understanding before. I didn't have the understanding before. I'm just sharing the understanding with you guys as it's going. So thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, guys, wherever you are. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.